All right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, happy to be speaking with an individual who has a tilt going at Bellator 225. It goes on August 24th. Oscar Vera going to be taking on Khonry Gracie in a welterweight bout, and I actually have Khonry on the program to talk a little bit about this fight. How's your day going so far, man?
Good. How's yours?
Oh, mine's going pretty well. I'm kind of wondering, though, first fight of 2019 and everything like that, how excited are you to get out there? And I'm also kind of curious why later on in the calendar year getting out there for the first fight of the calendar year. Was there a certain circumstance at play or just now felt like a good time?
No, I just think now felt like a good time. I have no rush. I'm one of the youngest fighters, with a bunch of other guys, but I'm one of the youngest with a large group of us that are on the younger end of the spectrum. So, there's no reason for me to, try to fight once every month or every 2 months or every 3 months even, It's okay to, branch out. I'm trying to be in this sport for the longest time possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you kind of dove right into it as well. Like, you didn't really have much in the ways of amateur experience and kind of dove into the pro ranks and everything. So, yeah, I mean, you're in no rush, obviously.
Yeah.
Just kind of curious on your thoughts on your opponent here as well, taking on Oscar Vera, and seems to have, similar amount of experience as you. Maybe, I mean, you got the extra fight on him, but seems to be a commensurate amount of experience. What are your thoughts on Oscar's skill set as an opponent?
I think he's a great stand-up fighter. I don't know how much experience he has on the ground exactly. We'll see where the fight goes.
Yeah, and it seems like you have a pretty comprehensive game. I mean, I imagine you are comfortable wherever the fight goes, whether it's a stand-up exchange or getting the fight on the ground. Obviously, being a Gracie, probably being on the ground you're fairly comfortable with, but it also seems like the striking end of things would be something you're comfortable with, too.
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously grew up in my family, so the ground would be preferable, but the fight could go any which way, and you have to know what's coming. So, if I have no experience boxing or doing Muay Thai or kickboxing, there's no reason for me to be in the cage, because that's half the fight right there.
And I'm kind of wondering, I mean, you come from that, well-steeped family lineage and everything like that, and you're talking about how you're seeing it through, the long game and, a more of a patient, kind of composed mindset. Do you think that composure comes from being part of a family with such, a rich history in fighting? It gives you maybe perspective beyond your years?
I think that it's not my perspective that I'm basing this off of. I think it's the generations that have come before me that have taught me so much. I think that's where included, I think that, runs in the DNA a little bit, but I think that the generations, the uncles, the cousins, the grandparents that I have talked to, that have been in the cage, that have been teaching jiu-jitsu their whole life, they were the ones that I think give me not only the confidence, but, the mindset to go in there and be calm and be prepared and, go chase down the victory.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what it means to you to, have a victory within the same promotion your father does. Obviously, your father, Royce, ended up beating Ken Shamrock under the Bellator banner, and you got your first victory in the last fight there. How significant is it for both of you to kind of share a victory under the same promotional banner?
That's awesome. But what would be even better is if we fought on the same card together.
Yeah, that would be great. Is that doable? Is Royce looking to get back at it one more time? Is that I mean, obviously you'd be interested in that, but is he interested in that as well?
Oh, I don't know. That's something you would have to ask him.
Yeah, but, coming off of the Devin Brock fight there, a tough, spirited performance, but then getting the victory over Ron Becker by unanimous decision as well. How satisfying was it to, notch that victory coming off of the loss to Devin Brock? I imagine it must have felt amazing.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, when you lose, you learn a lot. And that's with any sport or martial art or anything like that. Even in jiu-jitsu, just rolling on the mat, every time you get tapped, you learn from that. And the fact that I jumped in my first MMA fight and I lost, I think gave me experience and knowledge to kind of see where I was at, to see, what needed improving, what needed to, to get better. And when I went into the second fight, we didn't even take it. We maybe took it to the ground once, I think, maybe once. So the fact that I beat him, even though it was in decision, beat him standing up, gave me a ton of confidence.
Oh yeah, I would have to. And I mean, talking about the learning process and everything like that, I'm kind of curious who like the regular coaches and regular sparring partners you work with ahead of big fights like this.
You want to know them?
Yeah, who do you regularly put in that work with and kind of learn from?
So obviously my father, Royce Gracie. Um, my stand-up coach is wife too. I have Ivan Kravitz, who is also a black belt under my father, but he has a background in, karate and Muay Thai. And then I have a boxing coach, Marvin Somodillo, who worked under Freddie Roach. He trained under Freddie Roach. And then I have Kenny Johnson. Right now is my wrestling coach. And then I train with Khonry Gracie and, Lynn Dorsey, who is another black belt under my father for jiu-jitsu. I have a sparring. One of my main sparring partners is Justin. Man, I forget his last name. I'm sorry. Can't hear me right now. But yeah, Justin is one of my main sparring partners. I used him for the last fight also in Israel. He's a very good guy. He knows just how much pressure to put on, how hard to hit, where I don't get cut, I don't get injured, nothing like that, because I can't afford that. But yeah, that's pretty much the lineup right there.
Yeah, sounds like you're working with some good guys and everything, but the recuperative practices seem to be very important too. Like you have the cryogenic chamber and everything like that. What other means do you have for recovering from hard training and hard fights?
Well, I do use cryo very often to recover from hard trainings. I do use I have a masseuse I go to who kind of he's not a very soft masseuse. He works areas that are hurt. So he's not working your whole body. He's just there to work out the areas that, you get hurt. Let's say in your leg, he's going to work out the leg, just to get the knots out, to get, bruising, swelling down, stuff like that. I do see a chiropractor every once in a while, not very often, but every once in a while I will go see a chiropractor at the same, cryogenic place over here in San Pedro. So there's those three.
Yeah, for sure. The recovery, super important, the whole tear and repair sort of thing. So good that you have that on lock. But it seems like Bellator is a pretty good working relationship with Rizin at this point. And there's obviously a rich history of the Gracies competing over in Japan. What interest level do you have competing for Rizin in the future if that opportunity pops up?
I mean, I'm never going to turn down a fight. So if they offer it to me, I'll take it. But like I said, I am very young for this sport. So I'm not looking to go push boundaries, okay, just yet. It might take me a little bit longer, to kind of get situated, to kind of, feel out, my category and, see where I'm going from here.
Yeah, for sure. And I wasn't trying to, I guess, translate like a tight timeline on it. Just if there was like a general idea of like, oh, hey, that'd be neat to, cross off the list, so to say.
I mean, yeah, I mean that would be great. Like I would love to fight in Japan. Don't get me wrong. Or even here, fighting somebody from, from Japan, fighting here in the States. But I would never turn down a fight. So yeah. So if they offer it, I would definitely take it.
Yeah, it's a good attitude to have, but also from what I was seeing on your social media, it seems like you've hit up Stagecoach a few times in the past, big fan of music festivals and all that. You got any music festivals on the agenda after this fight maybe? Or, because I imagine you're maybe not going to so many festivals before the fight.
No. No. I would say, I know that there was one I was talking to one of my cousins about. There was one in Chula Vista, maybe. I do go to Stagecoach every year. We do like me and my guy friends. We do a boys trip down to Palm Springs for the weekend. So I go there for that, and I was looking at one maybe in September or October. There was one in Chula Vista, Florida Georgia Line. I think is headlining it. It's just a one night thing, but I was thinking about maybe doing that after the fight, kind of going down there. I love country music, so.
Yeah, that would be a good show. Is country music usually like the genre you train to in camp as well? Are there other genres you mix in? Like, where are you at on, training to music?
No, I train to country music. Yeah, I strictly train to country music. I mean, I don't mind listening to, rap and other things like that. But if I had to pick something for me to train to, it would be country music. I don't know. It's just, everyone has their little, niche and trainings that they like to do. Some people, like rap. Some people like EDM. Some people like rock and roll. For me, it's country music. I can calm myself down to country music. I don't get so amped up, so hyped up. And it's like like you said, it's a good thing to stay calm.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I've been a country radio host for a few years, or at least was, and recently changed that up. But is there any artists like in the country sphere that you especially like to listen to? Is it kind of just country in general you're down for? Like, where are you at on that?
I mean, anything. To be honest, I'm a huge old school country, so like George Strait, Hank Jr. Any old school country, I'm all game for. But if we're talking, newer country, maybe Luke Combs, Dan and Shay, Florida Georgia Line, Luke Bryan. I really like all country music. To me, it doesn't really matter.
No, it's a good way to be, man. I definitely hear where you're coming from on that end. But you've been good with your time. I'm curious if there's anything you want to add as a parting thought as we're wrapping things up here.
No, if that's all you got, thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the time, man. And I think people are going to appreciate this fight August 24th at Bellator 225. Thanks so much for all the insights, man, and best of luck with the rest of your preparations.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.